Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Mohammed Tausif, motivation speaker and leadership coach. I am from KnowHowPedia and I have good experience in academics and trainings from international and in India. So in today's topic, we're going to discuss about the most important functions of a manager called controlling. Controlling is one of the function which is continuous, and we're going to do in-depth study about controlling in this particular video. In this lesson, we're going to learn about controlling, definition of control, types of control, process of control, and finally we'll look at the frequencies of the control. So first of all, let us discuss about the definition of control or controlling. So controlling is a process of establishing and implementing mechanisms to ensure that the objectives are achieved. In simple terminology, controlling is using systematic methods, the approaches, the techniques in order to make sure that the objectives which are set are accomplished, achieved and met. Controlling will help us to make sure that we are in a right direction and we are not deviating from our goals. Everybody in the organization is working towards the achievement of that particular objectives, and this can be ensured only through proper mechanisms of control. Next, we'll talk about the different types of control, and in the above diagram, which is in the video, you can see there are 4 types of control accordingly. The first type of control is called as preliminary control. Second type of control is called as concurrent. Then we have output control, and finally feedback control. Preliminary control is a control which is established before the process starts. It is the initial checks or initial standards set whether these mechanisms will help us to achieve the objectives or not. Preliminary control is also called as input control. What are the inputs we are giving? What are the raw material? What are the resources we are providing to the system? Suppose if we provide the right kind of raw materials, right kind of people, right kind of machineries and everything, then obviously there is a possibility that we are going in a right direction. So preliminary control is very important to have because it gives us a direction of where we are going and how we have to go. Second type of a control is called as concurrent control. In the concurrent control, it is also called as a process control because during the process of a particular manufacturing or various times, during different times of that particular process, if you are checking, ensuring that it is not been deviated, there is no variance between expected and the actual, then obviously concurrent control will help us to go along the plan. Finally, the output control. Output control is the control where when we receive the output and make sure that the right kind of output are received or not. Based on that, we will modify our entire system, entire control system based on the outputs which are received. So what are the type of outputs we receive? Usually are products and services. If the product and services are met according to the objectives, then obviously we are looking at output control. Finally, the feedback control. Feedback control is the control where we get the feedback from the customers and other stakeholders. Based on that stakeholder information, if we are controlling, if we are changing, if we are making sure that right kind of feedback will be received in the future, then we are looking at we should consider this as a feedback control. Next, we will look at the process of controlling in detail. So process of controlling have there are 5 steps in the process of controlling, and each step is very important, and each step has its own prominence in this entire process. The first step is called as setting a standard step. Setting or establishing the standard to be achieved, and ensuring that they are smart. Smart is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. If we are ensuring that some set of standards to be achieved, and they are planned or they are set in such a way that they are smart, then we call that as a step number 1, setting the standards. Step number 2 is about measuring the performance. So once we set the standards, it is the time for now to measure the performance of the individuals using various techniques, methods, and making sure that all the data which is collected during this phase is accurate and reliable. In the second step, we measure the performance. That is nothing but actual performance. The third step of control process is comparing the performance. Comparing the established standards with the current performance of the organization or the employees, and ensuring that the X, which is established standards, and Y, the actual performance, and we are comparing X with Y, then obviously we are talking about step number 3. And next, further, fourth one, we will find out the variance between the established standards and the actual performance, and we'll get a V called variance. X minus Y is equal to V. And this variance is nothing but the deviation, and knowing where the deviations are coming from, what is the main purpose of the deviation, what is the deviation, where is the deviation is coming from, how is the deviation is coming from. So all these things are studied in this step number 4, called as determine. Once we know where the possible problems are coming and finding out the solution of that particular problem, then in the final step we take the corrective action. The corrective action will be taken so that the same problems are not repeated again. As I have mentioned earlier, that controlling is a continuous process, and controlling process is a cyclic process. It keep on running until the expected results are achieved. And the next topic we're going to discuss now is about control frequencies. Control frequencies means how frequent you are doing controlling, or how often you are doing controlling during the process. The first type of control is called as constant control, second periodic control, and third one is occasional controls. Let us look at the constant control now. Constant control are the controls which are continuously or used in a routine manner and checked every now and then, so that the process is not deviated from the actual ones. And the second type of a control is called as periodic control. Periodic control is nothing but we check the performance. We check the performance every 2 months, 3 months, or quarterly, or every 15 days. Set of time is there. So periodically you're checking the controls. And finally, occasional controls are those controls, they are used rarely, and whenever possible, whenever the organization thinks that it has to be checked, and suddenly all of a sudden they start checking or auditing, that is called as an occasional control. Thank you very much for watching this video, and we have budgetary and non-budgetary controls will be studied in the next video. Thank you very much for watching all my videos in this series, and every video is related to management, and it is useful for all the students of MBA, BTECH, BE, BBA, and anybody who want to start up their business. If you want to start up a business, you must know the fundamentals of management. I intentionally done this particular series because it will cater the needs of all the people, the entrepreneurs, the students, managers, everybody who are directly or indirectly want to involve in the